My name is Luca Alejandro Nicholas Norton, and I'm 36 years old. And I'm listening to what I would call the Women's Hour. And not trying to be mean when I say the Women's Hour, because I guess I'm trying to lump in on their conversation, within their conversation, the Syndica Project. Now, Jersey Girl, I love her. And thinking about nostalgia and homages and birth. I could be using this moment right now to be checking the stream and say, how do I look? I don't care. I'm just enjoying this moment, kind of like the idea of what a session really means. And thinking about modesty and knowing that I did put on there as a bit of a guide. Let's do that. You kind of like, you want to be mad with how Pisces goes. If I were to auction a date with myself, to do it all over again, because I'm 36, and it'd be here in South Carolina, I would love to see Cody Fry, because that's what's playing in the background right now. Disclaimer. Wishful thinking that I don't have to say that ever again in the future because everybody fights it from somebody. Even the queer Cody Fry. Like I said, I don't know exactly when the anxieties of telling the truth are going to start coming in because, again, I'm 36 and I want to really give a thanks to Donald J. Trump for allowing me to not feel scared to travel to New York, easing into like the idea of just being a spectator. Find myself the idea that you need a studio to use things and then the illumination of it, setting up what does it mean to have care and fun. And I feel more than just good because if I think about my classroom and myself, thinking about the act of sex, too, I think that would not support my ramble of being present, but tuning into the idea of what enlightenment can do, not rushing through any sort of what people call it oppression or whatever that is, or somebody realizing saying things without saying it is still harmful. Saying things about having to do things because you're married and your spouse doesn't want to do things together, y'all do things together and enjoy life even during the hardest times. Finding moments to appreciate it all. If I did think about my composure and what's guiding me to do this, well, I'm being lazy right now and not using this moment, I guess, to properly think about YouTube analytics. Being upset about getting dropping in if I could with somebody not telling me that, but being guided to an African fucking woman talking about God doing needs and sowing the seeds, and then she says, I don't know. I swear to God, use my data that way and give me to I will go do shit. What does it mean to have the white lady that started this along with the actual other dude, his chat GTPS and all this thing connected, and her life insurance, whatever she did, and her son dying also in the middle of this? And what does it mean to put like life stuff into literally beyond conspiracy, but into art? Motown is art. which still feeds into Sony, which still feeds into Universal, which still feeds into Atlanta, which still feeds into all the art. So for right now, if I'm gonna think about how I wanted to, let's say, like, put seance of what I see of my future, even for Peter before. See, there's a documentary out there, I'm pretty sure, but not going nuts. The theory of not going nuts, but being upset with having to somehow start being an internet sensation, and that's okay. And then knowing that I read the original book and you make a dub version with a technically white cast with probably your mom did, but who cares? Oh, that was, let's say this is all under the watch of him because he kept talking about I don't care because again he could die pretty soon. So he probably still got money after that British thing he just said something. So let that go. Like if I had to be a writer and on a writer strike during COVID, which I wasn't because I had to do like grateful things, but then knowing that when I was in high school, everybody was reading that, but I was kind of reading this, getting and then curious about this. This I don't really do spy novel things because retarded. And but then thinking about the Methodist aspect of it all, and so since I know accurately the tales of these mother, uh, and the things that I could be working on, uh, to erase the stigma of mental illness. Hmm. If you're wondering about children and what they would think about this, telling a child to do their homework and then the parents don't do the homework themselves. Well, let's talk about the Carter family and how Nick Carter is the strongest Carter in the family. So, yeah, currently, I can tell you that I am barred from going, but I go there anyway because who cares? It's the VA. Or else am I going to go? I'm going to freak the hell out. But so I was actually 2023. Yeah, when I came back in June, and I'm a little excited but upset about this at the same time. But I read This Is There, and I started singing way before I was 6. But I had my first actual interview in concert, truly, when I was 6. So my coming out was literally so, and the idea of my future things and how to do and come together with an idea of a will. Like I said, I stand behind everything that I, Blue Dolly 100 in this words. I was trained by a lot of nerds. We talk about having to be present on the internet. I think that's Miss Michelle. Right. It's Tara, Seth Mara, and Julie. I think the only person I really care about the most is Julie's because she is the lawyer. And I think former prosecutor or whatever. But all of y'all too. But in the middle of all of it is Tara because she has this senior marriage. I would say in the middle because she's black and white. Have right. Let's talk about the idea of self and negative stereotypes like the three listed below are false, unjust, and harmful. People with mental illness are violent and unpredictable. They choose to be mentally ill. They are weak and incompetent. Look at that. Saving my cognitive ability. Like I said, this is provided to me. Right. Like I said, I'm not this fucking check the hell out, man. Matter of fact, I've done this therapy, and I'm not saying that I laugh at the slowness because thinking about I never was out of character because back in San Diego, I do have moments where I need to have solitude and not fearful. So those moments of hospitalization, believe me, even with the consumption of whatever I would consume, which would be, I think it's stupid that if I really wanted to work for like the fucking CIA or the fucking FBI or the DEA or I can't fucking smoke marijuana. I can't smoke CBD. I mean CBD. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, this is why I would get upset about the idea of not giving a damn about the Second Amendment. Like I said, I'll be that whole bitch ass cop on probation for those 90 days, smoking my weed, taking my time, chewing on it, learning all this stuff. And then really say that I'll be like the green cop because if they try me, I will slap the shit out of them and then give them a citation. I'm like, one, you got slapped the fuck out of instead of shot or tased. So what would your mama do? At that point, I'm like, she'll probably feed you. So let me go feed you. She'll probably give you back him, but if your mama gave me permission to do so, I think that would be a good. So, so when I speak, one, yes, I'm taking in a lot of air, and I'm also trying to figure out my voice, and I'm in the safety of my apartment, and how I fall into things. Well, conversations are easy. Conversations are just that art for me. One thing I'm upset about myself, but not upset about myself, is knowing that I do have. But I wanted to do a PhD program, but I didn't get accepted. But recent events, I saw the University of San Diego get involved in protests, and I do hate protests. I'm going to be honest about that. To truly be a fake activist, a fake warrior, a fake person to care because your citizenship is on the line. That is harmful to me. And so when people use and talk about break things, I will take advantage of that. Because then I'll ask them, it's like, well, they acting the exact same way that I was. Yeah, no. Like I said, I want to give Donald J. Trump a big, beautiful bill to say everything, I guess, happy birthdays and consolidation and wrapping up a gift. I truly and honestly want to know what taxes can do. If he allows the nukes of Qatar to get involved, he allows the goddamn omegas of the capitalists to get involved. If he allows, and then knowing that if they can influence their money for the future, why would I not say that? I'm getting told and getting annoyed and getting what? Banked, coin minted to say turn the TV off? In the sense of that stupid risk. Who's the turn the TV off? Petty officer or officer or any of them? I'm trying to figure out like the context of Doc from West Side Story. Boy, I love that one too. But when he was just like, "What's the matter with any of you?" And then Conan O'Brien, and that little dipshit, and shall we fucking feast? You don't know anything about danger unless he is dying. He wants to kill himself. Then let the little piece of shit kill himself. Let Sean from wherever the fuck shall we feast or Hot Ones fucking kill himself. Because again, when you talk about him also stealing recipes or getting people that take other people's recipes, or it really doesn't matter because culinary and home economics is all just a meme. So for anybody like who was it? Donnie Glover to say that he knew a guy that carried something, and even Beyonce say hot sauce and bag. I can carry my aunt Maxine's and still say that probably tastes her aunt. Who knows? But it's still gonna probably taste like somebody else's. I was algorithm to read this, read that, and saw her get real, real fucking real. And say, okay, now motherfucker, right? I'm tired of saying that I don't own the rights to things. I don't copy because again, if I have to listen to this shit, I do own them. If I have to listen to this little queer, if I have to listen to any of these, I don't know what queer baiters they are in the 21st century. At the end of the day, it is truly, honestly, both on the child and the parent. So these cooler internet laws that don't exist for children on the internet, and then for the cooler laws for children that do work in the industry, and then they get just like Kate Hudson not understanding that the royalties that she gets from can really be, checked and messed up, and she don't do her own taxes. How stupid is she? Y'all gave y'all gave a bunch of hillbilly hicks money, even the black. I can understand why Tar was and is still a Republican. I kind of wish I had my glasses on because again, it looked like one of those moments where I would have been like White House, because White House loves to do the like an asshole. Let me tell you, I miss so. I didn't care. I was wedded. I was all these things during COVID, and so I didn't really care, but I was concerned about a lot of things. While I was in the US or the USHS, whatever the fuck, Mercy, that is a ship that is hospital corpsman, was parked on the docks of Los Angeles, and a train went off the rails to attack it. My former spouse was on that ship, and I really would have been pissed the hell off had anything happened to her, because at the end of the day, I'm not trying to say that she was still my property, but I still would have been concerned about the fanaticism of all of it. I would have been putting pieces together about a lot of things, and then probably would have discovered probably somebody in my command did something and still be like, still bad. And then watching these, my cousin Yo Yo 808, his name is Johannes Richardson, has a channel. Not Yo-Yo Plus and not Yo-Yo, all those things. I don't care to talk about his other things, but I was watching a video where this thing was called, well, I called it the Brandon Act, where the how did let me let me give you my deep dive. Here we go. This is what I call RIP too far. It really is. Because if I think the common denominator at the end of the day is Barbara Corler, because she, her old dyslexic, whatever the fuck she does with the goddamn fucking Kokorin, right? She did a living funeral. I actually do like fish. Well, I like Torn. I like the guitarist, but I would always it would be okay to do that. But the thing is, when I was looking at this, I was jotting down some things because I want to know exactly how sound engineering actually works, their audio engineering works. And so I was listening through things because I do have very good hearing and amazing eyesight too. And so when I listen to things, I actively listen. And so when they were, especially the cop, she talked about saying that she was fiending. And I found out, I was looking at the definition as soon as she said that. I looked it up. And fiending in the 15th century means it's a pretend. It's not in the sense of when we talk about drug users, it's still a pretending. You have to ask yourself, what would they rather be doing? Having or rehashing and being in a autonomic nervous system response, a fight or flight response to a lot of things going on, and then not being diagnosed things. So I'm diagnosed bipolar and all these other things, and 100% service connected. Happy about that. And I'm dropping into my voice. So yes, the fluctuation of balance and relaxation, how I speak, how I command my voice doesn't have to be perfect all the time. But as long as the message comes out, that I, at the end of the day, figured out that most likely it was Roy, the order in which she said the black boy, Ray, Trey, and Roy took a lift and they intended to rob this girl, and she had a Subaru. And if I were to thinking about the events of my life, me and my former spouse, and fraud insurance, and then also sex, habitation, crime rings, and what they call these operations. And yeah, weed and all those things, and trying to figure out what a 14-year-old would do and getting 27 years in prison, and me saying I would give him 40 because he knew if he was underage that he would have a program to get him where he needed to. Because we know that minors work. So he was frauding the system. And he had multiple records of this. Maybe not her, but maybe her. Who knows? But that's another thing, too. You never ask yourselves about all the operations. That's why I called something caught your lesbian street slang. They sent the person a text and told him to come over and wanted to do these things. And I don't have to do that. No. Sex addiction after she said that she was fiending because the little boy, oh, Pierre Resistance was the little ugly little, I don't know, kid with the purple ring. And that's what I call signs of Salac. Because my beautiful and gypsy and all those things, writing and all those things. That's just really do you drill. emergency, or do y'all really want to put that up for grabs? Because what is the comfort Uber challenge to the Lyft? I guess do you drill? And what is hit a lick? Because other than that, and what is post getting over whatever? Instead of saying it's gaslighting or it's whatever the fuck you're getting over. Let's just punch through and push through and be honest in the 21st century. Y'all got to be boozy, floozies in COVID, and I'm trying to be Charles in charge, but myself, Luke Alejandro Nicholas Brenton, 36, showing the necessary shirt. And it's 11:40. And I always tell myself I don't want to be out of bed before noon. Hmm. I said I've never out of bed before noon. I want to be out of bed before noon. So that means that I can still get up, slowly wake my body up. Because even when you think about food and everything like that, well, I still have to wake myself up. Because breakfast is just breaking fast. That is literally the definition. So telling me to eat X, Y, and Z, what elected official? And the Pure Food Act and the FDA Regulations Act and all those things. I'm still my current weight that I was when I went into service and on testosterone and all that stuff. So transitioning person that I am. That's why RIP too far. And like Barbara Corcoran and myself. I will put myself in this in the 21st century. Even as mood. But mood is harmful. The thing about the Rolling Stones, because I'm listening to this also, is that he wasn't himself. He was made by Tina Turner, R.I.P. Tina Turner. And the same thing with the rest of the band. All of them, to include Eric Clapton, were, in a sense, influenced by Jimi Hendrix and what the American USGI Joe mythology was. Let me say that because he also played with Little Richard. He also played with James Brown. He also had the allure of a lot of things. So I want to also be my artist, Nisa Gouvet, and do fringe art that can be moving and use literally the pony, the stone pony for my, I guess, I would say responsibly priced because again, I don't know really how people feel about StubHub and Ticketmaster. I understand people get upset about the fee charge and all of that, but again, that has to do with economics. Splitting the dividends, even in the smallest vending like so I want to be able to do all these things, even with people around me, so they can get credit for school and all of that. Because what the fuck is Streamer University? Because I bet I could use this to be a professor on it, and this as an example. Because I don't want to fucking do tenure, bitch. I see that there is money to be made on the internet, not just in the sense of why there's 7.7 million. I want to rival that. Like I said, don't tell me about the fucking businesses that are on TikTok when there's businesses everywhere. And if they're tired of Chinese influence, well, pull your shit out of TikTok and put it literally in American things at this point. YouTube, since we started that, that was what 2005, 2004. I'm a graduate of the class of 2007. Quite happy about that. And I deserve to play on the internet. I've bullied people on the internet. I've done some terrible things on the internet. I apologize for the things I've done on the internet, especially with family members, and they're okay with me doing this. So this is why, especially if you see Yo Yo 808 and he was like, talk to me. Truly honest. I could do that better than 36. He's 26. Talk to me. I'm 24. Talk to me. I'm I'm divorced. This talk to me. But divorced, single. Very, but moved. But I don't want women that have children. Not truly honestly. My mother, I have a pedigree. Typically, every time, like in the relationship, my mother married somebody that already had a child. My father was in so that's a big thing. And my mother's father from the Caribbean, but also American from Florida. He had two children before them. So typically, I always go for women that do not have, and I agree, but I don't. So I just have a divorce. So at that sense, you have a bit around. Just saying, what is really a wishful thought? Let me show you that picture. Ah, God. Sorry. Car accident. Car accident. Right. Well, car escapism at that point. Like watching people throw crap is hilarious. Like found fringe art on the fly, but then making it like because Ben Cho at that point, I guess he was like my idol of sorts, said you can make art anytime. And since Paul Rubens is dead, you know, still take it obvious. Because who wants to be mad? Be mad and just throw it. But then making all these things emotional has you later are just hilarious. And then again, too far. But I did go to the University of South Carolina. I really did get, I mean, let me tell you, at 22, God, that hospitalization. And then I met the Air Force people. They're active duty. And it would have been a misogynistic couple because I think she was like Slavic or something like that. Either way, but she was in shape and they were like IT and stuff like that. So I always put myself under surveillance that I could be under a lot of things. Don't care. Because again, I want to be of service, is elective service. So if they ask me what can I give to them, well, here's the thing: if I be, let's say, I apply for the FBI or CIA, and I talk about being an admin, truly, because who the fuck cares? I'll suck at paperwork anyway. So if I apply with that, my family, and I reach out to the Seneca Project and say, hey, can you look at my video? Can you tell me that this will be something that'll be worth it, even on a moot point for reference? Because again, I'm bored even on the digital things and just be weird because again, I would then tell y'all asses to fucking look at my goddamn school transcript. My GPA was when I graduated at 2.7. That's actually really good. The whole idea of a hospital stay for myself and then having to switch to those two because I wanted to literally go into the service. 250 years of hospital college. That'll be next week. Oh, oh, the baby's birthday. That'd be too. But the hospital calendar birthday is June 13th. You'll be 125 or 150 for them. Remember that. So, like I said, when I was at the University of South Carolina, I had a moment of clarity, of crash, of breakout. I don't know. Maybe. Ugh, having to hear having to hear Bruce Springsteen's now, and then having to think about that then, the things that I was going through, and his privilege in the 21st century with his daughter and the Olympics and his gambling debts, probably. They're probably going to Trump Tower and losing money there, or people on his behalf doing that. And then he's probably drinking and drugs. Like I said, it's tiring to hear these old geezers that I think are old geezers talk to me about their regrets or try to tell me about their regrets. But then they bash the progress, and I don't give a crap that they go to the USOs and say they support blah blah blah. Who cares? And how in the idiocy, and I don't care if even veterans say that, but have you watched it? No, no, fuck that. If you really want them to care, and it doesn't matter if you want them to survive, you sign them up right then and there. That plight about, oh, I wish I could do more. If y'all really cared, y'all could have given that person a real job regardless. Because then they would have gotten the housing, then they would have gotten all of those things. But maybe you did offer them and they just like, no, I don't want to. So we let them be. Mm. The truths that I'm finding about the context of me holding on to the idea of absence and then supervision being the last aspect. And looking and thinking about the past eval that I got, the last eval saying that I would need supervision, whatever I do. And maybe this is one of those reasons why, because when I go back, when I get older, let me look at this channel when I'm 46. I really want to look at this channel of the ultimate veteran at 89 when I'm 46, and I'm probably like the CEO or something. I really do mean that, and I'm not trying to be a dick about it. And I probably would have 3 children and a beautiful wife, derelicting sometimes. And then let me see this video. Would I have changed at all? Because my God, if I would, I would be like, well, shit. And I'm not trying to say, look, Bruce Springsteen will be alive in 10 years. uh, But would his opinion to me still matter? No. Unless he's gonna go to IKEA with me and help me build some shit, means nothing. And it doesn't even have to be with Habitats for Humanity. If this man got the money, he can put up building up homes and stuff like that instead of sending his daughter to the Olympics. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to be mean because I would love to be right now in Temple, so I'm listening to some sort of Park Avenue synagogue live stream. But have a lot of questions about these feelings. Like again, birthright citizenship, and looking at documentation from back in the day, and then coming to terms of what the idea of Sam was. But then also looking at Tiffany Haddish, but really thinking, is she legitimate? Not trying to be like Omar, Dr. Omar, or whatever his name, or Farrakhan, or anything like that. Like I said, I'm trying to truly be happy with myself and really figure out myself in knowing that if I ever say that, what voices do I hear? I don't have to say, oh, it's this person or this person. Finally, I think of my mother. Finally, I think of my sister. Finally, I think of Jonathan Brandis and wanted to have like a voice that kind of echoes his because he was considered a teen heartthrob and everything like that. And since no faith, but that's a lie, and I truly am honestly seeing that because of states and stuff like that. Mm, if I say things or how I see things. So it's essential that I want to say you people, like I said, imagination is a great nation. Because I definitively sometimes say, are you guys a flag? Not necessarily an ethnicity. Because the holding close and to the idea of the United States flag, who really created that? And I guess people wanted to say that the Holocaust didn't happen is because of when you think about Florida and the Jewish plantation that was there. And so I guess that's what we talk about American History X for the Southern view, the Spaniard view of it all, because Sam stands for Sardonic, Anoski, and Moroccan. And like I said, even with the idea of being Irish, still Italian, still Spanish, still Jewish. But at that point, still looking at facial features. Hebrew being Afro Asiatic, and trying to understand the Fongs and the Chongs and Chins and their Ebens, right? Woo! And the Rothschilds. Oh, that was a funny little looking family. Oh, I mean, at the end of the day, when you think about what a hospital coroner really is, with William Stewart, Patrick Hitler being a hospital foreman during that time in the ships, at that point, I would be upset with all of y'all because y'all allowed, well, Hawaii to be vulnerable. I mean, I hope y'all are listening through this because when it comes to radio stations and hi-fi stereo, David Walker, the fraud that's been done in his name, and those contexts of fires and restitutions, and who gets what first. And I did say who gets what first. Huh? Like I said, I'd like to be in the FBI more than anything, and really do that. Because if I get to the CIA, yeah, I would just do admin because I have all day for literally paperwork. And when I literally think about the idea of like church space, state space, and all those things. And this Luddite thing, that becomes no longer funny. And then Parker Posey thing, uh, and we'll get the I mean, before I really, I always ask for permission because when I do, I rather work with right to understand. Since it's AI now has all chatbots for everything at this point. So for him to still want to not think about the idea of fighting genocide, but the famine and the farm genocide and all that, that's a real question. Is this AI saying that we don't have time to not think about why that happened or whatever that means? Right. Hmm. All right. That whole concept of slipping him a 20 or giving him a fake 20, all that too. I'm, I'm thinking about false forwarding an idea of a scheme called RIP24. But like seeing it of like real time events and taking in that information from yesterday and drawing a conclusion. I really want to make a point with this herb called cannabis. We have new people in place. We have Pope Provost, and that's hilarious in that sense too, because that can close the door to that shit. And then we also have him being Pope Leo the 14th from Chicago. You know, really to witness depth and the is loves. Right? Don't tell me not to expect me to see the right the study sheet. I said I can be so bullshit. Ooh. They said that all these hate factions have to fucking vote for the same person? No deficit? Right beyond the sun? The purchase? I said a bus up? Here? And what's it called? I want my dick on this side. Like I said, Charlie was telling me about this before I even knew what the freak is. The aspect of using dead things to postularize my penis. I want y'all to really have a reason. You tell them I can't have my wife. Whoever the fuck sit with me on some big boy shit. Because again, if I take a goddamn motherfucker tomorrow, all of it, and he's got that man caught in his still it's one of seven. Oh, Olivia for the settlement and Meryl. I mean, I got a lot of instruction as an our beloved parents. Dance with the right blood. Never only right. Because again, all those holy parents in heaven, where hallowed be thy name on this earth. Bow. Claim all of us, right? Get a donation considered today. God, this is a little difficult, but not necessarily. How long has this young man been playing? So this one gentleman has been playing nonstop for 17 minutes or 17 hours and 58 minutes. And he's trying to beat every Five Nights at Freddy's game. And he goes to Streamer University, whatever that means, in the 21st century. So I'm trying to really see what my audience is. If I decide to start with that platform, because then it'll give me a reason to be up as well. But I would also love to do like if they're in school and get them to be a part of like an alpha line. I like the requirements to be an alpha for any of these organizations and be an African American and all that, or being of color, being a man of color. That's what you do is like, especially undergrad. Right. But that's the thing. I can do this by taking like a couple of classes and making that count for honorary degree and stuff like that. So you have to be intentional about what you want, even if they're not in the room. So that's what I'm doing. I'm forward thinking that I could be talking to my wife in name, image, and likeness, but not necessarily. So cast in name, image, and likeness, Elizabeth Ann Baker. And thinking about wishful thinking and then thinking about I know that you want me to do all these other things, but if I wanted to be a professor and tracking movement to say that this is where she would be and like metaphorically, if I flash the hat, this means that she would be here in a sense and trusting that. Because what is a alpha man if she wants to see what I'm looking at? Then do like the whole donation thing. If I'm to take my eyes off of that, then I'm gonna need to get paid in a sense because in the 21st century, like all nations in like the 20th century and all that, they're asking for couples to start having children. Or he's drawing a diner for some reason. And if I'm thinking about like having teams and having an orange team, and I'm on all the teams, or in a red team, or my wife is the purple team, right? And I'm able to transition to any color, right? Red, green, blue, orange, those four main colors, or yellow. There, fine. Whatever. Red, green, but yellow, orange, like Simon says, sure. If I'm thinking about this context of like the classroom on this weekend, the weekend classroom, having to say somebody was like, oh, todos los eratapetes, pituquitos, españoles existía, escucheses, piletón, eso de esta, Dios estábamos, besos, esos son, Cristo es un montón. You know, I said it repito a little bit to get, like I said, I know I was being probably like a little Cristo of Jesus is around the time. Ahora es este tampón, right? Because again, I was like, when you talk about the structure, the tradition, all this is right. because I'm in Columbia, South Carolina. It's the weekend. Now it's 12:18. I have a couple more minutes left on this. And also wanting to be neutral about ghost sports and this heartbreak. Oh, the stars, they are like space boys. When your hand is holding mine. I was. I love you, don't rock the boat. Y'all didn't do any of that? Love you. If you ever change your mind, don't, don't say goodbye. Just walk out the door. Don't say it's over. Stupid. You know, to close my feelings about this, the one book that I really did love by James was Giovanni. And the reason why is because he killed his little lover. And I fell into sort of psychosis after that. And sometimes if the government really believed it, they would probably hide that fact sometimes. But I don't have to think about conspiracy in the sense of like the Kennedys, um, because they're a powerful company and they're a powerful family and all these things. So when I say that I want to be able to help out Donald J. Trump, not necessarily him, but the idea of building a beautiful, making a beautiful big bill that needs to be signed. People are asking when, probably next month. That's what they're saying, by next year, and getting jets and all those things and promises, especially on the bodies of not just African Americans, but black bodies as well, and other bodies and other responsibilities. But in for me in the 21st century, all those events are absolutely moot because settlement for myself has been made, and I'm not upset with speaking my truth. That I have the tools necessary to return to sanity, as they preach and tell you, surrender myself to a higher power without speaking jargon that can seem triggering and jarring and cultish and everything. And I said, being in treatment my entire life, being in mental well being, and all that stuff doesn't scare me if anyone tries to challenge. It just reminds me that even through transitioning in a civilian sector, I still have things to not just teach myself, but teach other people themselves about what prompted their triggering to be thrusted into conversation, but also into greatness as well. And it matters not what level. And so I'll say again, with the limited of the sound in the background, because I guess the main thing is that I'm trying to get used to having the natural sound around me, but still listen and still give myself a message. So this is still just a test for a lot of things that I want to do because I want my own open forum round table. I want my own city hall meeting and everything. It's 21st century. And I'm trying to not just break on through the other side, but truly wake up to yes, not so mastered plan, but literally my already predestined life through wishful thinking. So have a great day, guys. Till next time. That was no fun.